Hello everyone, this is Aeroica, and as always, thank you so much for stopping by for another video. In this episode, I will review one of the two new heroes which have been added to the Dungeon Boss game, Aria, a light rogue with a flair for gymnastics and an expert with a staff weapon. Let's take a look at what she has to offer and see if you'll be doing backflips when you unlock this hero. When we look at the Profile tab, we see Aria in her fully ascended graphic. She comes equipped with her weapon of choice, the staff, and a rather decorative Kung Fu robe. While many aspects of her skin receive some nice graphical details, she doesn't seem to have any pupils, which when compared to her character card, is really what makes this hero pop. Hopefully they can add this in later, perhaps along with some form of nose, which would add some depth to her facial features. After reading the forums for the last few days, I'm almost afraid to click on this, but if we click on the question mark, you'll see, and probably already know, that Aria is only available in the AETHER shop, and that no dungeons currently hold her token. AETHER is a new form of in-game currency which was introduced in an update on May 17, 2016, and is obtained from any excess tokens you obtain related to a hero that you have already risen to a 6-star level. The tokens are converted into AETHER at different rates depending on the rarity of the hero, and the AETHER is spent in the AETHER shop to buy tokens in 5-pack increments. For the purposes of this review, I was only able to level my Aria to a 2-star level. However, all of her abilities and her are level 70 and she is fully ascended. If we click on the Stats tab, we can take a look at her numerical statistics. Take note that she has no native resistance to poison, fire, cold, disease, or freeze. However, she does carry a 31% resistance to lightning. Also worth mentioning is that she also does not have any organic dodge as part of her status and only carries dodge, which originates from a trait. But this seems normal for some rogues, as Shadowblade and Masuda both have the same setup, while Black Diamond only carries dodge for ranged attacks. As a light hero, she has the standard 30% advantage and disadvantage towards dark enemies. When we take a look at her traits, her first one is Quick Starter 2, which appears to preload her abilities with 3 energy as she enters the dungeon. This is a nice benefit and puts her ahead of the first few rounds of attacks. Her next trait is called Speed of Light Team, which buffs friendly light heroes by providing them with a 15% chance to both attack and defense, while also providing a 10% buff to dodge. Despite this only impacting light heroes, it can certainly be beneficial. Her next trait is called Dodge This, which provides a counterattack after successfully dodging one against her. Additionally, this counterattack will be at double damage, giving you an opportunity for increased DPS. The next trait is called Can't Touch This, which provides a 40% chance to dodge ranged attacks, and will also provide a 100% chance to dodge any attack which originates from an enemy that is dazed or off balance. You may know that some enemies afflicted with the dazed status still have a small chance to successfully hit your team. In Aria's case, this trait ensures that she cannot be hit by this enemy under the effects of this status. Her last trait is called Inhuman Reflexes and offers a 25% chance to get 2 hits when Aria performs a countering maneuver. This is similar to Pygnius' Hog Wild trait, which provides a second chance for a second basic attack, except in this case it is specific to when Aria counters. When we look at her abilities tab, we can see that her first attack is called Provoking Poke, which takes place of her basic attack and comes with an additional feature beyond just small damage. In this case, the ability performs a non-dodgeable attack, but also forces the target to attack her during its next turn. While at first I felt it was a novel idea to build an attack above just doing basic damage, and would truly speak to a hero that was legendary, in this case it can be wholly undesirable. This ability negates any taunts that another on your team may be enforcing, and depending on your cooldowns could force you to use this ability because it comes with no energy cost. While she does come with the ability to dodge, it is by no means guaranteed, and she could end up dying because she would be forced to use this attack until other abilities became available. Her next ability is called Sand in the Eyes, which is a melee physical attack for 1519 damage and knocks the enemy off balance, which is a debuff that reduces attack power and makes future attacks more likely to be dodged. Her third ability is called Hurricane Flurry and is an AoE melee attack for 820 damage and is coupled with a 75% chance to stun targets. This can be beneficial and appears to be a form of Yoko's Sumo Stomp, except it does not come with the near guaranteed application of the Daze status. Her last ability is called Prime Twist and is a self-buff which places Aria in a defensive stance, providing an additional 59% chance to dodge incoming attacks and a 42.3% increase to damage occurring from her retaliating attacks. When used, this may give her the added dodge protection she needs to continue to use her provoking poke ability. However, it is by no means a guarantee and may still result in her taking hits. Aria's first Ascension requirements are the first we have seen that require all rare Evos to achieve. In this first Ascension, you will need to have 8 Caveborn Evos, 12 Spirit Evos, 6 Jeweled Evos, and 2 Subterranean Evos. Meeting this requirement will give you the Hurricane Flurry and Quick Starter 2 traits. Her second Ascension again requires all rare Evos and requires 12 Stormwind Evos, 10 Brawny Evos, 8 Coldfire Evos, and 2 Shadow Evos. Meeting this requirement will earn you the Hurricane Flurry 2 and Prime Twist abilities, along with her Dodge This 2 and Inhuman Reflexes traits. At just a 2-star rating, it is hard to accurately gauge Aria's latter stage performance. That being said, while the status afflictions are a very nice component of her attacks, the damage does seem underpowered. She does, however, come with a Swiss Army knife of traits that could make some of her characteristics useful in a particular situation, but might leave others doing little to nothing. Her Quick Starter trait definitely comes in handy, as getting her Hurricane Flurry and Prime Twist abilities energized faster when entering a dungeon will definitely be useful in both a PvE and PvP setting. Additionally, adding her into an all-light team or even a partial light team will be beneficial, as her Speed of Light trait buffs defense and attack while boosting dodge for the other light heroes. Her Dodge This and Inhumane Reflexes traits have the potential to add to the DPS totals by utilizing the counter aspect and extra attack potential of these traits. Her 40% dodge to range attacks is good, but of course this only applies if you're facing ranged enemies and would otherwise only have the 10% dodge in effect for melee attacks. When compared to a 6-star Masuda or Shadowblade and their Shifty trait, which provides them with 25% and 20% dodge respectively to all attacks, it feels like she's missing out on a key rogue aspect. However, when you look at Black Diamond, who has 25% dodge percentage towards ranged attacks, it's hard to complain, but at least she's a fast hero. Her Sand in the Eyes ability is a single target attack. The debuff, which can reduce incoming damage to your team on 2 levels, both from the attack power reduction and the possibility that the attack may miss, is definitely beneficial if used on an appropriate enemy. This could be useful in both a PvE and PvP setting, where this might be applied to a boss or an enemy defender to help reduce incoming damage. At this level, the Hurricane Flurry damage is fairly decent, and while some is better than none, it would be nice if the Daze status was more definitively applied to all of the platform targets. In a PvP setting, it would be a luck situation to daze the desired target, and that is not good when trying to make tactical moves for victory. Aria's weak spot is her very first ability, the Provoking Poke, which again is a 0 energy cost attack that causes the target to attack her during their next turn. While I can see perhaps some application in an odd circumstance where you might need to divert an attack, this does create a potential issue, especially when dealing with enemies who are melee based. This issue lies in the fact that the dungeon boss game does not allow a hero to pass on a turn, and thus a hero must do something for the fight to continue. In Aria's case, if her other abilities are on cooldown and she is low on health, she would be forced to use this ability and could potentially commit suicide by taunting attacks to her. While you could spend energy or heal potions to counter this until a healer can fix the issue, it doesn't necessarily scream practicality, as many of the later dungeons in the campaign mode require careful allowance of these items. Remember, this aspect of her attack supersedes any active taunts that your team may be using, and she will be attacked by the target if they survive to their next turn. It should further be noted that her Prime Twist ability, which lasts about 4 rounds, can help in keeping her alive, but no doubt there will be a lull where this buff has expired and all other abilities are on cooldown. It also makes using auto attack very risky. Aria really shines when it comes to her counterattacks, and even more so when her Inhuman Reflexes trait procs. When compared to the damage of her other attacks, the damage from this character's aspect seems to be more fitting, and I can only imagine this will get significantly better as she becomes a 6-star hero, potentially one-shotting an enemy or doing massive damage. Aria should do well in a PvE setting as long as her damage scales appropriately. Some of her abilities are good for nullifying boss damage and can help to keep some of the enemies from making solid attacks. From a PvP standpoint, she will have some applicability. However, like any hero, PvP attack teams need to be tailored to the defense. Aria will need to be used in situations where she can really perform, such as fighting against teams that have mostly ranged heroes and those that do not come equipped with the perfect swing trait. Additionally, she would be useful in an all-light hero crown quest, so she can buff them with her speed of light trait. Aria has high damage potential if she can be set up to begin counterattacks, but this is a specialized component of her buff and should not be relied upon as a sole strategy. Since the counterattacks are randomized, it would be difficult to place a value on this type of attack, even though it does seem to do a high amount of damage when it occurs. While this certainly could be beneficial if it happened to proc, getting it to do so when you really need it to is unpredictable. Using Aria as a defensive hero comes with the risk of her provoking poke ability, forcing attacks against her, and if any of the heroes have the perfect swing trait, it would negate her dodge and possibly kill her. It is for this reason that I raise caution against placing her on your defensive team. While we do rely on the game's AI to do a decent job defending, she may actually use this ability to her demise, and you may inadvertently help the attacking player win. However, pairing her with Hansuki and Yoko could offer her some protection and possibly cause trouble for the attacker due to the continued stall tactic and increased counterattacks. This is evidenced to some degree by this footage, which illustrates how the counter and dodge could create problems. While my team did not have any heroes with the perfect swing trait, one could theorize this battle might have been significantly shortened. In any case, this was very annoying. The real area of concern is the value in spending all of the effort to unlock her and level her versus what she provides. Currently, the AETHER shop sells 5 of her tokens for 3,250 AETHER. It would take 6,500 for a 1-star, 13,000 for 2, 48,750 for 3, 65,000 for 4, 97,500 for 5, and 162,500 for 6. That's a total of 393,250 AETHER, or 78,650 tokens at the lowest exchange rate of 1 for 5, or 13,108 tokens at the exchange rate of 1 for 30. While it is natural to assume that when reviewing the massive effort it will take to unlock and level a hero such as Aria, you might expect an equal amount of power in return. While I do not think she was ever meant to be a game changer, nor do I want a hero that is overpowered, she doesn't really come with anything so special as to warrant this kind of effort. Considering she is a DPS class, it's really hard to tell what niche she fits into because I'm not impressed with her damage output, nor do I think her debuffs are so impacting that she carries a value for a team spot. The best parts about her are all impacted by chance. Her dodging being tied to her countering and the day's status effects are all percentage based, and there are plenty of other heroes that can do similar maneuvers with guaranteed results. While obviously she is only a 2-star in my review, I don't find that being a 6-star hero will change much to impact her purpose. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you found the video informative. If you did, make sure you give the subscribe button a click so you can be notified when my next video comes out. Let me know what you think of this new hero in the comments section below. I try to respond to everybody that takes the time to do so. You can also follow me on Twitter for game updates, new hero releases, tactics, and other information. Thanks again for watching, and I will see you at the next video.